Don't place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty traders, let's get into a market update today. Let's have a look at what's going on around the markets today. I had a bit of a sell-off today in the stock market. So what's really going on from there? Obviously some things are happening with gold as well too. So looking at the stock market, we actually had a bit of a down day today. So this is the Dow Jones here. We can see we actually had a bit of a down day here happening. Now the big picture here that's happening right now on the Dow Jones is we are in a downward trend. And the last few videos that I've done, I've been saying this is a downward trend, this is a downward trend, and the trend is still down. So I would not want to be trying to fight against this. So looking at this level here, we can see that if I bring on my good old, arrows and all that sort of stuff, which simply just means that this, look at this here, rejection right at the 50% level, right at the 50% level on that 50% Fibonacci, and then now we actually break down. Now again, guys, I don't use that to trade. What I use the Fibonacci for is to tell me whether the trend is strong or not. Because what the Fibonacci does is that if we go down and up retracement and then we reject and we continue down, that's actually a strong trend in that direction. Doesn't mean I'm going to trade off that, and I don't. It just gives me some guidance on whether this trend is strong or whether it's weak. See, but then if what happens is that if indeed we actually get something like this where the market rallies like that, as you can see, right, it's above the 50% level and above the 61.8 level, that shows me what? That the trend is really not that strong from there. Does that make sense? So that's actually what we're seeing through there on the Dow Jones from there to there, as you can see. And so guys, this is something that it's really important to not try to fight against this or try to pick, try to say the market's going to go up and here we go and so on and so forth right now. It doesn't matter what anyone says. The trend is your friend until the end, right? Look at this here. Up, down, high, low, up, down, high, low, up. Look at that point through there, right? Now, a bit of a lesson here. Look at this here. Notice here we had a low and then we had what? It was a significant high low. Look at the distance from that point there to that point there. Then let's look at the next high low. Right? That point there to that point there. Right? Remember I said about the 50% Fibonacci that if the market comes up and then retraces 50% and then continues, it's very strong. Well, as you can see, right, these levels here are probably retraced around 50% and strong up, 50% strong up. But look what happened here. That's that low there. This almost actually retraced almost 100%. Notice how that was a lot different now. Then look what happened. Then what do we get? Now we actually got up, and now we're getting down. Now we're getting up, and now we're possibly getting down again as well too. So we're starting to really roll over here when it comes down to the markets. And the really big key that I'm watching for, traders, is I'm watching for to see whether this 33,000 level is indeed this 33,000, this whole level all through here. This is the big line in the sand for me. Okay, the big line in the sand, the line in the sand. If this is broken on this Dow Jones, if we continue to break and past this 33,000 level, then we're probably likely to see a really big drop. So if we do continue falling through on this short downward trend here, we're probably likely to see a big movement on the downside. Let's go to the S&P 500 and look what the S&P 500 is doing right now. Right? It's doing what? We actually just got a slight close below that. I would have liked to see a much more stronger close below there. But look what's happening, right? Up, and now it's just going sideways, right? This is very weak, guys. Very weak. So we have that level through there. Once again, the same for the S&P 500. In the S&P 500, if we get a breaking of this low here, this 4,200, if we get a breaking of that low, then that tells us we're probably likely to see a move back down towards these low levels through here, right? Which would be what? Which would be about a 10% drop or something like that in the markets there. So we need to be alert of that right now we're in this downward trend, and that's all that matters. And if the market does change, then we need to change with it. That's the nature of the beast. So, but right now we're getting high, lower high, and lower high. Remember I said about Fibonacci levels as well too. We go from the low to the high point. Look at this here. If I zoom right in, look at that there. Rejected right at the 50% level. It actually had problems 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, and then bam, down. So this is actually looking quite weak through here. The thing, if we were going to get some buys, we would get something like this. We might get a bit of a down day, and then we start to pick back up there. If we get something like that, traders, then yes, the trend is now starting to shift back to the upside. Make sense? So that's what I'm seeing through there, traders, when it comes to the S&P 500. Let's go look at the Nasdaq. Nasdaq is, again, the Nasdaq sort of just holding here, right? There's the high, there's another lower high, there's that level there. So if we do break this 14,500 on the Nasdaq, spaghetti-o, here we go. We're probably likely to see a real, it's actually really interesting, traders. A lot of this is setting up for a potential big move on the downside. Call it a crash, whatever. But I'm only talking about like 10% or something like that. But if we do start to break these major levels, guys, on all these indices, then get ready for quite a significant move on the downside that come, because we are in a downward trend right now. Obviously, that can change, and we need but right now, this is what we are getting in the markets here. So let's go look at the gold and silver markets. And gold continue to have a very nice push up. Look at gold pushing up. But there is a pullback. The start of a massive move, but a pullback first. And so I honestly believe now, guys, we have got this big move up. We have now gotten clearly a broken above there. Massive V bottom. And so I do believe, guys, that now, and this just obviously no one knows definitely, right? But I do believe now we're probably likely to get some form of a bit of a pullback. And then we're probably likely to start to see the big move up, which actually, I believe that's going to happen. But I also hope that that's going to, I also hope that's going to happen as well too, right? So we can see that point through there, a bit of a pullback, and then away we go as well when it comes down to the gold market. But gold right now, traders, especially from the weekly chart, look at this weekly chart here. And remember, from that gold perspective, we have this massive triple top here. If gold continues up like that, traders, get ready for the horses to be released, and it's going to, right, it's going to really go, right? Here we go. So let's go look at silver. Silver's really interesting as well too, because silver's really again, we're not out of the woodworks yet, but if I bring up my good old arrows here, let's actually bring on this arrow one right here, right? And that's that lower high here, right? And then what do we have through here, right? Then what is this here through here? This last one was obviously over here, as you can see. So we've got this high, lower high. Now, look at this here. Now we're almost at the same high through here. So silver's definitely breaking above, and we also broke back above that support level there as well too. So that doesn't mean too much, because I've seen many times when the market breaks, when the market comes down, it breaks support, comes back up, and then just continues down. So the breaking of the support is not the big thing for me. The big thing for me is obviously what the market is doing. So right now, down or got up, we're almost at an equal high through here. But the big thing for me when it comes down to silver is this really big long-term sort of pattern that we're actually developing through here, which is this level through here, right? And look at all of this sort of, call it like a bull flag, whatever you want to call it, right? But look at all this sideways movement. This is like squeezing up into a spring before we get going for something like that. Also, let's look at the GDX as well too. GDX, very, 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 very strong move. Again, retraced pretty much 100% of that there, as you can see. So this is now the first sign, guys. This is the first sign of getting some sort of big V bottom action. As you can see, right up through there. So I do believe we're likely to start to see some form of a pullback here first, and then possibly start to see an upward trend. Right? We would get some sort of a higher low. We won't just keep going up and up and up and up and up. Now that's obviously possible, but what's probably likely to happen is us to develop an upward trend. Right? So we've been making these lower highs. So we may even get something like that, right? And then it pulls back, and then we create the higher low, and then away we go, right? So we would need a higher low first to start that upward trend from there. GDXJ, same sort of thing, but we're still slightly making lower highs on the GDXJ, but we're pretty much retraced almost 100% of that last one from there. We definitely did break past that level of support. As you can see, we broke past it. Now we're getting a big, massive move to the upside. So that's what we're seeing through there, traders. So there's a bit of an update there, traders. Right now, I'm seeing a very big shift on the downside weakness in the stock markets. And gold and silver in the mining sector is really showing a lot of bullish activity. Wouldn't be too surprised to see a bit of a short-term pullback to create a high low to start that upward trend as well too. So hope this helps you out today, traders. Make sure you, very first link in the description, traders, make sure you grab access to that trading course that I'm giving you free access to. Or if you do really need some help, traders, then you can apply for my private 12-month coaching program. That'll be the second link in the description there. Go click on that second link in the description, book a time, fill out the application, and I'll speak to you real soon.